Boom, shakalaka boom. You've tuned in to the free range human show of choice, your daily dose of reality radio. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm, of course, Clay Edwards, your friend and host. Here is my partner in crime, Mr. Shaun Yurtkuran. We are manning the ship of your girlfriend's favorite radio show. It's the radio show she told the other ones not to worry about. I ain't got over that one yet.
I know you've been stuck with that, right?
That's gonna be a new one there. That's gonna be a new one there.
What's the saying? What's that saying generally? Like, it's not your dad's whatever.
It's not your dad's radio show.
Yeah, it's not your dad's football team, or they use that as a saying in a lot of things.
Things have changed.
Yeah.
One of my favorite Instagram accounts is Your Dad's America.
Oh, your dad's America.
It's just like at Your Dad's America, and it's just a bunch of awesome stuff from like the early '80s, like old Budweiser ads and stuff like that.
Oh, well, so what's it called again?
Your Dad's America.
Your dad's. I'm gonna go look
it up. Like the little at logo, Your Dad's America, and it's like when they would still use hot chicks and bikinis for advertising.
Yeah,
and, just manly stuff.
Just stuff you remember from the '80s when we were kids and stuff like wasn't it the Swedish bikini team? Wasn't that Budweiser? Bud Light.
It sounds good to me.
Don't you remember? You don't remember that? I figured you would. All people remember that.
I just remember the Bud girls. Like they were always those three girls in the white full one piece bikinis.
Okay,
I guess those aren't bikinis. One piece bathing suits.
Am I remembering that right? The Swedish bikini team was part of Budweiser.
Possibly.
Look that up. I'm sure somebody in the chat will know that.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. Anyway, so let's see here. Let's get things going this morning. I gotta get my notes pulled up. Shaun, what's going on in your world? Y'all are doing something cool today. Tell everybody the king and queen of local political talk radio or moving into television.
Yeah, we're going. WLBT is going to interview me and Lindsay today. I don't know exactly what this. I mean, I think it's just like a human interest piece or something about how, our politics are divided and how are me and her, how are we together hanging out and not arguing and killing each other. So I think it's gonna be about that. And
it's the vodka.
It's the vodka. It's the vodka. Yeah, that's right.
The vodka is the real MVP.
That's really the MVP in this. So yeah, so it's gonna be about that. I don't know when it's gonna air though. They just told us to be there at 11 and go talk to them. So it'll be interesting. WWT, like we've been, they've been doing some cool stuff anyway. Other than obviously, I mean, I appreciate them interviewing me and Lindsay, but they've been doing some really good work too on other things. So
yeah, so that'll be interesting. I'm just doing filler time here while I get logged into my ex and everything. So keep chatting.
Oh no, it's cool. But I did this so I had a mishap last night. I've got this Weber grill that my dad gave me when he moved to the coast 2 years ago, and I'm not a big. I mean, I want to learn how to grill. I just don't generally grill because I didn't have a deck until this week. And so anyway, somebody built a deck for me. It took like 2 days. These guys were great, by the way. And so now I put the grill on the deck and I'm out there. I'm like, I'm going to grill. Oh, well, I'm on the phone with Kingfish of all people at the time of this while I'm grilling. And then the grill just sets a fire, and I can't get the fire out. And I'm just like, and he's on the phone. He's like, what's the matter? And I'm like, I think the deck's going to catch on fire. And he's like, you're supposed to clean those things beforehand. I'm like, you are? And so I had to go to the house and get like a bucket of water and put the damn thing out because I didn't have a fire extinguisher. It was a total mess, man. I mean, I was like, okay, I'm gonna Google how to do this for next time. So
that's funny. Your deck does look nice. You're gonna enjoy that, man. I can't wait to come over there and watch the Dolphins lose on your deck.
Yeah, I know it's gonna be great, man. I ordered a bar cart to put the TV on, and I got all this. I got all into buying lights, and I don't know because I had just that little rotted out deck out there for years, and so now I finally found some guys that they did in 2 days too, man.
Yeah,
2 days.
My patio leaves so much to be desired. It's literally just a slab of concrete. I don't have a lean-to. I don't have anything back there. It floods really bad in my backyard because my house is at the bottom. My backyard's at the bottom of a hill.
Yeah.
So like when it rains really bad, I mean the water. I mean it has not come in the house yet. I even got some of those self-rising sandbags. Like if they get wet, they turn into sandbags.
Yeah.
Just as an emergency. They're supposed to have done a berm back there or dig a drainage ditch. It just hadn't happened yet. And it is what it is. But it's made me procrastinate wanting to invest any money in any kind of outdoor furniture.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just going to be honest. It's only 2 months out of the damn year that I want to sit outside.
That's the thing. It's this time of year.
Right now
is really good.
And coming out of winter. So March, April, maybe.
And even, I like sitting out there in the cold. Like I'm into that.
Oh, me too. No, I will. I'll sit out in the cold.
Mm-hmm.
But it's usually going to be by myself because rarely is there a girl in my life that wants to sit out and freeze.
Yeah, never.
I'll tell you what, the first girl that will sit outside me in the winter and not complain,
Gonna marry them.
getting wifed up.
Yeah, that's the I
Wifed
guess
up.
temperature thing is
Morgan, if you're listening right now, if you like cold weather, that promises made, promises kept.
temperature compatibility is more important than political compatibility. I think
100%.
like that's the thing I like about Lindsay is like she is always hot, like sweating. You have to turn down to like 60, or she's gonna. I'm like, wow, this is the way I am because I cannot. Because majority of women that you date are like turn the thing up to 80, or whatever. And I'm like, 74 is not an appropriate temperature for the house, in my opinion.
Ever. No time. 69 in the winter ish, and I'm getting mad just thinking about it. If you come in my house and the heater is on, it's because you woke up.
Yeah, that's it.
Or I've been all day and I left and I didn't leave it on.
I absolutely, I told you about my landlord, who is a friend of mine from my office or my offices. And he's got this thing where he's got this echo thing where it like shifts during the day, and we've had the biggest about thing. I was like, dude, I'm going to move out over this temperature thing because you have it. He's like, what 74 is what good? And I said, no, it's not. This is
the one thing that I don't like about foreigner-owned gas stations.
It's so hot inside.
Yep, they're just from a different culture.
No, it's
and they do not believe in air conditioning, and a lot of the times the beer's not cold either because they keep the temperatures turned up. It ain't cold. You walk into their beer caves and it's like the air conditioning in another store. Now that ain't all. Shout out to my folks at Fuel Time. I think it's Fuel Time. RJ Singh and them. They do it. There's a few others. I'm not rolling everybody under the bus here. It's from different cultures. Your Indian guys are good. Your like Middle Eastern guys, they like it a little warmer.
Oh, dude, you're not. This is so true because I grew up like this.
Yeah.
Like my dad didn't even turn the air conditioner on in the house in Miami because it was like there's a big breeze in Miami. He's like, oh, the breeze is wonderful. And now he lives on the coast and he does the same damn thing. And I'm like, and my sister and I like go in there like, how do you live like this? It's like 100 degrees in here. And he's just like, oh, perfectly great. Like I'm like, this is insane. No, it's hot. It's really hot as hell in here. And so no, that's true. That's some cultural crap that I did not inherit. Because I do not get that at all. But it drives me absolutely nuts. I sometimes don't even go visit them because I'm like, we're gonna have to make an agreement about the side of the house, because I am not staying here when it's 78 degrees and at night. I'm just not doing it.
Ain't happening. All right, look, man, shifting gears here. I got something I want to start the show off with.
Yep.
Something to get us motivated. We are fastly approaching election day. This is not sarcasm either, by the way. To our online audience, I know y'all couldn't hear that. I forgot to move that over there, but it is what it is.
So the Morning in America commercial, it's infamous.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good commercial.
Yeah. So, and also it's got music in the background, and YouTube will ding us for copyright stuff. So I have to be careful about that. Shout out to Corey for sending me that.
Oh, did he send you that one?
Oh, they are saying they heard it. See, some people are saying can't hear it. Others, Lindsay heard it. Roger says can't hear it. I'm so confused.
Yeah. Do you think some people's equipment own? Because sometimes I called in one. I'm guilty of this. One time I was listening to you, and I think I texted you. I'm like, I can't hear it, but then it was my laptop sound was off. It was me. Like it wasn't you.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is people's laptops are off, but I think sometimes people say they can't hear the additional audio. Kara says she keeps her house 60-30 68 year round. Kara, if I ever end up homeless, I'm living on y'all's couch.
Yeah,
we are now thermostat compatible BFFs.
Right. I'm telling you, it's the most important thing. I mean, there's nothing worse than living with a woman, or I'm sure, I don't know, women probably like I bet you it's at least 80 to 90% of women that like it hot.
Like
Something like that.
Yeah, I bet women roommate well together.
Yeah, they
Well,
must.
thermostatically anyway.
I mean, can you imagine when they get older and have to get like blood pressure medicine, like I'm on, by the way? And when you take that was when they put me on it recently. They were like, I was like, oh, this is gonna be great because I'm gonna get colder. Like that was the way I was looking at it. Because that's what you hear. Like you're supposed to get colder. I was like, this is gonna be a great side effect. Well, that didn't happen. So, but it happens to a lot of people I know that are on it, and I might have to tell Scott to up my dose or something. Like colder.
All right, so it's been an interesting 24 hours, Shaun. Your president is a now, we're not going to go straight to that.
Yeah,
we're not going to go
trying to
straight
throw
to
the election himself.
We're not going to go straight to that. We're going. I want to jump into DeLorean. We've been jumping into DeLorean a little bit on this show, and going back in time, and that's what I want to do here. But I do not want to cheat our online audience. I got to pull this up real quick, and because I want them to hear this as well. They're going to get the bonus of video here, guys. We are streaming on social media. We got it all worked out. We're streaming on Facebook. We're streaming on Rumble. We're streaming on YouTube. Rumble is at Clay Edwards Show. All the other platforms, X, YouTube, and Facebook, are at SaveJXN. It is a good old time in the live chat there. Go hang out with our people. We got the chat pulled up on the screen from all the different platforms, so you can see what everybody's saying across social media. About 100 people in there watching right now. That's always cool to me. All right, let's listen. This is which one do I have pulled up first? All right, yeah, let's go to this was a couple of years ago. This was I think this is where Joe Biden says he's going to be a president for all Americans. And we're going to fact check that, as a matter of fact.
In moments like this, it's time to put politics aside. Again, it's not one state versus other, it's the United States. No Democrats or Republicans out here. It's what we do to make sure we restore the economy. Only Americans are here. I've been committed to being president for all America. In fact, all the major bills we've gotten passed, from over $1 trillion bill relating to infrastructure.
All right, so we don't have to listen to all of that. We got the main key in there. He said he's going to be president for all Americans, Shaun. And
I wonder what's next.
Yes, right. and something that there's been a paradigm shift.
No way.
Right. There's been a paradigm shift. Yeah. I don't think he still wants to be president for all Americans. He wants to be a dictator for the ones that don't agree with him. I know Democrats are obsessed.
Well, he only got 90 days of that left. No matter how this goes.
I know Democrats are obsessed with dictators. So let's listen to what he had to say last night or yesterday about Trump supporters, especially the gay and black ones.
Or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. Oh. His demonization of seen as unconscionable, and it's un-American. Or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
So is Joe Biden from Puerto Rico now?
I don't know. That's what he sounded like he said too.
I mean, so I just want to play the little game of if Trump had said, if Trump had said those exact words, you know how Ashton Pittman and the Rainbow Supremacists would do this.
Yeah, and, I used to play.
They would say Trump said that he hates Latino, or that Latino, gay, and black Trump supporters. I mean that Biden's Kamala supporters are garbage. Well, he didn't say any of those three words. He strictly just said Trump supporters are garbage. But we're going to pluck out of that since he generalized. He was clearly also talking about gay and black and Latino. So I just want to make sure the gay, black, and Latinos know he's talking about them too.
I used to play the game of like, what if Obama had said the things Trump did?
Yeah.
You ever seen those? Usually that Bill Maher skit when he has the impersonator come in there and said it's the Obama impersonator, and he says, "Let me do this. I moved on her like a bee." And I grabbed her. And they like, what would people say if Obama said this?
Well, you expect things from different. You hold different people to different standards, right?
Right.
I mean, I think it's like the stuff I get away with saying. I don't think Gerard could get away with saying.
We should ask him to do that. Like, Gerard, you need to do like a mock Clay Edwards show on Super Talk.
Yeah, like you expect it. I have. This is what I do. It's why I advertise it as incendiary.
Yeah.
All right, look, let's take a break real quick, try to somewhat stay on schedule this morning. We got Shaun Yurtkuran with the Yurtkuran Law Firm here in the studio. If you're watching online, you see the scroll on the bottom of the screen. Go ahead, set a reminder in your phone right now. Hey, Siri, 6 p.m. election night. Tune it into WYAB. Tune it into my Siri activated, by the way.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people Siri activated that are listening right now when I said, hey, Siri.
I'm sure.
Look.
Oh, there it goes again.
Sean and I will be doing wall-to-wall election coverage right here on WYAB and, of course, online. Wherever you're watching this or listening to this now, we'll be there as well. We had an award-winning. Now, we haven't received our award from anybody, but
the Jackson Free Press.
If they were to give an award out for election night coverage from the gubernatorial race last year, we would have, in fact, won it. We will be live. We're going to have a great time. We're going to have all type of guests. The phone lines are going to be open. We'll be able to Zoom people in, all kind of cool stuff that we have the technology for now that we did not have then. Super excited about it. We'll be going on live as soon as Kim Wade's show ends at 6 p.m. We're not going to wait an hour like we did last time. No sense in losing the audience for an hour. One of the biggest shows in town. You want to lead into that from that. So y'all circle the calendars now, circle the date, add it to your phone, 6 p.m. Tuesday night, election night. Let Sean and I do all of the work for y'all. Y'all just sit back, pop open a cold one, pour a glass of wine, bottle of water, whatever it is you do, and enjoy the best election night coverage that we think will be around, especially locally. I mean, look, I love Steven Crowder and all that stuff too. I hate that I'm going to miss that. But at the end of the day, I love local stuff. I want it from a local perspective, and that's what we're going to give you. We'll be right back here on the Clay Edwards Show with the Yurtkuran law firm himself, Mr. Shaun Yurtkuran.
Are we? We're starting at 6 o'clock.
We'll start at 6.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, Matt, we are live. Matt asked me last night what I said. I said, man, let's do 6. Mm-hmm. I said, I may live to regret that. I said, but we got too big of a lead in with Kim to try to expect people to turn back on at 7.
Oh, that's right. That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree
you know
with
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he was like, makes sense. I'm
Plus,
like, cool.
I mean, the polls close on Central
At 7.
and they'll close at 7 on the 6 o'clock hour here. So, right. 7 or 8 on the East Coast.
We'll have plenty we can talk about.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a day of chaos. There's going to be election shenanigans. I'm going to go ahead and predict. I mean, they're already burning ballot boxes.
Yeah, but those are Democrats burning their own boxes.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
You know, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
There's already, at least I'm assuming they're Democrat. I mean, it's like Washington, Oregon, you know.
Yeah, I'm assuming shenanigans. There's going to be all kind of reports of chaos. So,
and then there was a voter registration guy in Pennsylvania, which I kind of figured out that one was these organizations get paid to register, and there's some dude you get paid by the more people you register. So some dude just like made up a bunch of ones.
Well, did you see the thing yesterday where they said that somebody they would turn it, a police chief or something was turning voters away that were in line to vote somewhere? It was a big thing on Twitter. I'm trying not to get completely
every Twitter thing that comes out,
completely engaged in all of the voter shenanigans just yet. I know they're taking place. I'm 100% a believer that there's going to be chaos, but I'm trying to save my anger, my outrage for Tuesday.
Yeah,
I don't want to be so burnt out by then because I'm teetering on it.
Yeah, no shit, right?
I was talking with Matt Bishop, and we were just talking about kind of just like the fatigue of all this.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just getting started back after a break to go be a JAG, to go to the Navy and all that. He said, man, I've never had a radio show under a Republican president. I said, well, neither have I, because I started this show the week after Biden was inaugurated.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's sort of true. I mean, I had my 1 hour a week Saturday show, but what it is now started the Monday after that. After the January 20th. So like it was started that first Tuesday, my first Monday in February, basically. So I never have either, but I mean, I've been 4 years, 5 days a week, wall to wall doing this, working towards this. And it's like, we're this close to the finish line, whatever's on the other side of it. And it's just, it's my first full 4-year cycle. And it's mentally exhausting.
I watched something a couple of nights ago or a couple of mornings on Good Morning America. It's called like electo anxiety. They're giving it a term now, what you're talking about. And it's not electo anxiety. Like
it's true.
Like they're like people, it's just like people that aren't even involved, like what we do, talking about this all the time. Like just your average everyday citizen is getting so overloaded with it that it's causing people like a lot of like mental stress. Like this whole thing is causing people a lot of mental stress.
It is. Well,
I mean,
that is not a left or right wing thing. That is a both thing.
yeah, it's
I mean,
both thing. Everybody's just overblown with it.
I was at the end of 2020. You're like, man, it was just because you through COVID and it was just
yeah,
everything.
that year was just so. I mean, yeah, but I don't remember feeling that way in 2016.
No,
You know,
man, I was at finance school in Houston for the car business. So that was the first time I had done the early voting or absentee voting. And yeah, I remember sitting in my hotel, stayed up late and watched all of it. And I caught Trump's.
I did too that night. I watched that.
Him and when the young kid came out there with him, Barron.
Yeah.
All right, we're getting ready to come back on, guys. We're gonna have a moment of silence here, real quick. Question for the commenters there: do y'all enjoy the off-topic conversations during the breaks? Let me know in the comments. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun Yurtkuran here on a hump day Wednesday morning in central Mississippi. What a beautiful day. Good morning, America. Good morning, everybody, except the drug dealers and strippers. Good night to y'all.
Sorry, that just
Like that.
Well, the reason I like that because so when I was at the DA's office, we'd pick a time to go talk to witnesses when we had to go out to like West Jackson and some parts of Jackson that were kind of dangerous, and we were like, all right, well, let's go like at 9:30 or 10. And the first when we started doing that, I'm like, why are we going at this time? They're like, oh, the drug dealers have not woken up yet. We're gonna be safe to go talk to if we got to. And so that just became a thing where you went mid morning because they didn't go to bed till like 5. They were out at the club partying all night. And you kind of learned it. So when you go into the hood at around 9:30 or 10, like everybody's asleep. And so kind of thing you learn. So when you said that, I laughed because I've actually experienced that.
Because it's true.
It's really true.
Because it's true. Hey, real quick, I'm gonna do an ad read here in a second for somebody, but my buddy Paul just texted on the Guns and Gear text line and asked if WYAB had a locksmith sponsor. Now I got a guy I'm gonna send him that's a friend of mine. But if you're a locksmith out there and you're looking to advertise somewhere, I mean, I get text all the time from people that are looking for a locksmith. We would love to have a sponsor, especially an automobile locksmith. I have had a home locksmith on here before. Shout out to my buddy Brad Grammer. But man, I still send people his number when they need home locksmith stuff done. But we need an automobile locksmith sponsor on this show or this radio station because, guys, just the text I get monthly from people looking for a locksmith and people I see online, it would pay for itself just in those, not even mentioning the people who would actually call you because the advertising works. So if you have a locksmith company and you would like to get your brand out there a little more, email me, clay@wyab.com. And Paul, I will send you my guy's number in the next break here. Let's see here. Shaun, I need to do an ad read.
Okay.
Men's Health in Mississippi.
Oh, there we go. So let's get one.
Something easy default.
I just took my shot this morning before I came.
So look, man, my testosterone is just working so well right now. I had to take a couple of weeks off from doing any weight training because I thought I'd hurt my shoulder.
Yeah,
and I have done something to my shoulder. It's not my mental. I think it's nerve damage. But anyway, so last night I'm tinkering around with new ways to lift weights, and so far so good. No soreness this morning. But it's like back here on the backside of my arm or my tricep and my shoulder meet. So kind of a unique spot there. But I've got a good chest workout in, tricep workout in last night. I went rucking yesterday, feeling great. And I just credit how good I feel. And I saw a picture of me yesterday, man. And just like my entire body composition has changed. It was that picture I took hiking with the rucksack on.
Yeah, I saw it too. Yeah.
I was like, damn, I really like the person I see in these pictures now. And I just accredit that to.
Yeah, I noticed how lean you looked at that photo, right? You can tell the difference from earlier this year. Yeah,
thank you. And I credit that to that testosterone and the semaglutide really giving me that oomph to get across the finish line, which I'm not across it yet, but I'm heading that direction. And
is there any more substances we can take? I'm down.
Maybe some peptides or something. We need to talk to Scott over there. But look, guys, look, man, the number one thing, the reason these guys advertise with me is because I was singing their praises and sending them clients before they ever spent a penny with me because I couldn't shut up about how well this stuff worked. You can enjoy that same thing. Reach out to them. Text 601-327-8550. 601-327-8550. If you're interested in testosterone, text my name, Clay. Real simple. If you're interested in weight loss, text weight loss. Women, the weight loss is for you as well. Guys, the free testosterone screening are only for men. So men, free testosterone screening, text Clay. Everybody, weight loss, the compounded semaglutide, that's generic Ozempic, long story short, text weight loss, and they'll get in touch with you. You'll come in, you'll do a consultation. I don't think they have to do blood work on the weight loss, and you can get it that same day if my memory serves. Is that correct?
You do not.
Yeah. So you just do a quick consultation, boom, and you're out the door. No insurance required. It's affordable enough that you do not need insurance. So don't worry about that. As a matter of fact, they don't even take insurance there. So easy breezy, but I'm not going to get into the business side of their stuff. You will not regret it. Women, they also offer all type of, they have membership programs available, and they offer all type of Botox and youth age. What do they call that stuff? An age
Anti-aging clinic.
Anti-aging. Thank you. Anti-aging stuff. So Men's Health in Mississippi. It's also Women's Health, and then they have a clinic called New Care.
Yep.
And that's where the New Care is like the general physician. That's where you get the weight loss stuff. It's kind of three things under one roof.
It's a great deal. You know,
it's phenomenal. But again, weight loss. Text weight loss. Testosterone. Text Clay. 601-327-8550. All right. Sorry for the prolonged ad read there, but I just get fired up talking about stuff that works.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, just it gets we both use it for like everything over there now too, especially if you don't. I mean, I've got insurance, but through the exchange, but it's I'm actually going to, now that you got to re-up for that, I think November, I'm actually going to just do a catastrophic policy and just New Care.
That's what I'm doing.
It's kind of my plan to do that. Yeah.
All right, let's circle back to Joe Biden's comments here, Shaun.
Yep.
And I just from a comparative standpoint, I think the timing was terrible.
Yeah, but the Harris campaign agrees with you.
Yeah,
I would think they probably are sitting there pulling their hair out this morning.
If you're just tuning in this morning, Joe Biden called all Trump supporters, and I know there's been a correction, but you call it a correction, I call it a confirmation.
Yeah, he
called all Trump supporters garbage. And to me, if you take the timing into account, I think it's worse. And I know he's not the candidate, but he's a surrogate. We can agree on that. You take the timing into account this close to the election, and them in the swing states. Any benefit they were getting from this whole Puerto Rico thing,
it's gone. I know they ruined the news cycle. See, with your Harris campaign, I was looking at like a strategist. I was like, yeah, you just destroyed our news cycle. We could go another day with this.
They had whether it was fabricated or not, the news was running with this Puerto Rico garbage, saying it being ultra racist and offensive, yada, 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 which I completely disagree with, but neither here nor there. And then Biden calls half of America garbage.
It was, and I do think he really.
This is worse than basket of deplorables, is what I was trying to say.
Well, I think Hillary actually meant that when she said that. I just feel like Biden's an old, bumbling old man and was saying, I really believe that. I mean, maybe he thinks it. I don't know if he does, but I think it like Hillary meant what she said.
Can I say this in defense of Biden? Yeah. In defense of Biden, we hate him, and we have been saying FJB and saying all these things. I understand if he hates us. I mean, just to be fair about it, I understand if he hates us, but you got to rise above the hate. You're the president.
Yeah, but also, I mean, don't you think strategically, if he was in his right mind, which we all agreed that he's not, I think,
sure,
that he wouldn't have said that even if he felt that way. Like, I feel like it was just a bumbling misspeak. I just don't think, like, let me call half the country garbage. Like that's a good idea. Like, I don't think he would have, I don't know.
7 days before the election.
Yeah, I mean, that just seems like ridiculously stupid to do that intentionally.
I agree, but he did it.
He did do it. I mean, he said it. I know he tried to do correction. I just think, I don't know if it was an intentional, thing, but maybe it was. But I mean, if it was intentional, it's the stupidest thing I ever heard of to do.
Mazda of Jackson phone line, 601-879-0002. Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944.
Going back to the Hinchcliffe comedian, right, from the Puerto Rico stuff. Okay. We
haven't had a chance to discuss.
No, we haven't. And I'll tell you what, I've got kind of an expansive view of this. I think the guy's hilarious. If you're watching the Tom Brady thing, I'm a fan. Well, watch the Tom Brady roast. If people have not seen that, it is, and especially him, he's like the best one on there. He's that kind of a comedian. Do I think the Trump campaign made a strategic error by having him there? Probably wasn't the best venue for it. That being said, I think it was comedy. In a different time, it'd have been really, really funny. I just think if I was running the campaign, 7 or whatever, I guess that was 8, 9 days before the election, I probably wouldn't have used him.
I agree. I mean, it seemed out of place, but I obviously don't have a problem with it because I like Tony. And I was like, we're getting Tony Hinchcliffe. I'll take it.
Oh, he's and they did, the campaign did, I went deep into this a little bit. They did vet certain other jokes he was going to make, by the way. They were
did.
trying
They
to
approved this.
Yeah, they approved this one, which is like, I guess they just weren't thinking, but the one I guess we're going to call Kamala, that he was the C word. And they nixed that. They said
curious,
you can't do that.
What I'm curious of is who in the campaign was the vetor that approved. Was it Trump himself? Because this feels very Trumpy.
Yeah, like
yeah, say it.
Let's make fun of the Puerto Ricans and that all Latinos like knock everybody up. That's kind of what he was saying.
So. Let's take a call from Derek on the Mazda of Jackson phone line. Hey, brother, you on there?
Hey, listen, didn't Hillary do the same thing around this time during her campaign, talking about the deplorables?
Yeah, yes. That's right. Yeah.
Yep. No, I'm not sure what the timeline was. Sean, can you Google what date she said that? I am curious on the timeline.
But it was during the like before the primary. I mean, the election, though, right?
Oh, yeah. It was before the general because it got used against her. I want to say it was substantially
September
more
9th. On September 9th.
September 9th. So a full 2 months.
Yeah.
Before September, October. Yeah, full 2 months before.
And she had that. And then, of course, a month later, the Comey, email thing came out. So that was kind of the October surprise.
Yeah.
Right.
Huh. Well, again, I guess I'll be, what do you call it? Despicable? I mean, garbage. I guess I'll be garbage then.
Yeah,
must be a lot better must be a lot better than having S for brains, huh?
Well, they've been calling me white trash since I started doing this, so just
yeah, but I've seen that, man. But it seems like they're starting to implode. Everything's starting to break down because the hype train is derailed, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it's just like, I mean, I used to think Dennis Miller was trash and he was just trying to regenerate his dead career on Fox, but I wouldn't call his listeners trash, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, okay. I just wanted to draw a comparison to, around the same time Hillary said the same thing about the deplorables.
Oh, yeah.
I find it amazing they're starting to implode. Yep. Hey, have a good day, brothers.
Thank you, brother. Have a good one, Derek. Right, let's take a break real quick.
Yeah,
we'll be right back. If you're watching on the interwebs, we're going to be chatting with you guys in the chat during the live break. If you're on the radio, stay tuned on WYAB. Rip the knob off. There's no reason to listen to anything else on local FM radio. This is the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun Yurtkuran on the mothership, WYAB.
We can do this on the YouTube talk. I meant to talk to you about it yesterday. All the indicators seem Trump's on a good trajectory, right? I think we all agree on that.
Sure.
And I really actually spent one free time I had reading about every little thing because I like, especially this week, I like to nerd out on this kind of stuff and have for every cycle. Well, one thing I know about elections though is that you either run scared or not at all, right? And sometimes I feel like MAGA's got a little too much hubris right now because this thing is razor thin. From what I'm looking at, I mean, it could go. It's not going to be a shock to me if she wakes up and she's president, right?
Sure.
It's that kind of close thing. Now, do I think he seems to have the advantage? Yeah, I would say that at this point, that it seems to be pointing in his direction. Things are looking good for him in several states. I'm actually working on my electoral map, and I mean, and I'm not done with it yet because I still got some questions. But like right now, I think he's going to win Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia. I think if you're looking at it like that, Nevada, which went Democratic last time and for several cycles, he's doing really well with the service workers out there with that tips thing. There's like a 32,000 vote advantage with the early vote with Republicans. So I think you're going to see that kind of thing, and which it'll boil down to, again, Pennsylvania, right? But if you look at it, like he's also doing well in Wisconsin. So like Kamala could win Pennsylvania and still lose the election if he wins Wisconsin. I think that's correct. I'll play with the numbers, but so there's a lot of interesting scenarios here that could arise. Now North Carolina is another one. It is neck and neck tied in North Carolina right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mark Robinson's weighting him down a little bit over there. He's about 12 points down from that Stein that's running. So anyway, my point is there's a lot of this. This ain't like anybody's got this in the bag. I think he's got the momentum if again, but it's nothing that I would say, well, this is over. There's elections that are over, and at the beginning, like I think it felt like way in 2008 when Obama was running against McCain, like this is, I mean, why do we have to watch election night? What's going to happen here? And but this is going to be the closest. I mean, well, they say that because it could be an electoral blowout too, because everything's in the margin era. So, like, let's say Trump swept all the blue wall states, and the Sun Belt. Well, then you had a huge electoral margin victory. But it's not really close then. I mean, it was close in the individual swing states, but electorally, it was a blowout at that point. So, or it could turn into a close electoral. I got one number I'm kind of looking. My biggest guess is kind of like 270 and 268, maybe something like that. But we'll see. It's going to be it's going to be the most fascinating thing we've ever seen. I think
it's going to be fun to watch. I'm super excited about it. I'm glad that we're doing our election night coverage here, and just like I said, I'm just ready to get on the other side of it.
Yeah.
And whatever the news cycle presents itself, I'm election fatigued.
No doubt.
They're like, I'm not tired of doing what we do. I'm ready to pivot to whatever the next cycle is.
Yeah.
Because I think that we're gonna that time from the 5th of November. Remember the 5th of November to January 20th is going to be the most fascinating 90 days in American history. Not 90, November, December.
About
days.
that. I mean, because you got, I mean, like, let's say if Kamala wins or Trump, is Trump going to say, well, election was stolen? Is that going to be something plays out for those days? If Kamala wins, I mean, if Trump wins, are the Democrats going to try to not certify the results? I mean, I don't know. There's 100%. A lot of things that could play out here, I think.
100%. And they're all going to say, y'all didn't think the last one was right. And I fully expect that.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that could play
and
out.
They won't be wrong.
Would it be nice if
they won't be wrong for that to be their argument?
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping it's not.
I agree with them, but I foresee that.
Would it be nice if they just, like, what somebody just said, okay, let me shake, you won. Like, and everybody just went to the house. Like,
I mean, unless
like,
it's
that would be great.
Unless it's a landslide.
Yeah.
A Reagan Mondale type thing.
Which is not going to be, so.
Yeah. Right.
That's just, yeah.
Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. This segment brought to you by our friends out at Martin's Livingston and Martin's Downtown Jackson. The Blue Plate special today at both locations is meatloaf. Sean, I love meatloaf. You got plans for lunch?
Yeah, I'm going to do that interview.
Oh, you suck.
Yeah.
What time are y'all doing that?
I think around 11-ish.
Okay. Fred Shanks, if you're listening, I know you are. If you want to do lunch today at Martin's, I'm game. They got meatloaf. Hey, there's been a change of plans at Martin's this Friday night. Sadly, our friends in Kill Devil Hill have had to cancel their entire tour. But contraire move frere, not so fast would be a better word. Not so fast. Local legends, Flinghammer. Now, I told y'all Flinghammer could sell this show out by themselves, and that's exactly what I anticipate happening. Flinghammer is now the headliner, and they have added Headcannon as the opening act. Do not miss this show. Flinghammer, they usually only play, I think, one show a year, unless they're playing a few more that I'm not aware of. They normally are at Dueling Hall, and I refuse to ever go to Dueling Hall again, ironically, over a Flinghammer show when they instituted their vax mandate. Let me shut up. Y'all guys get out to, I just it all triggered at one time. You guys get out to Martin's this Friday night, November 1st. Flinghammer going to be rocking it live with special guest Headcannon. Can't tell you how excited I am about this. I'm definitely going to try to get down there myself. It's just so easy to talk about getting out, but then my old butt, man, come about 8 o'clock on Friday night, saying, I don't know, that ribeye on my grill looks really, really good.
Just we're going to do a sports show on Saturday morning. Right?
That's right, man. That's right. So, but don't be old like me. Be cool. Get out there, support local rock, live rock, original rock music. Flinghammer live this Friday. Martin's downtown, and of course, Martin's. Whether you're going for that or not, it is 2 of the greatest sports bars in the entire area. One in Livingston, one downtown. TVs rocking 7 days a week. All your favorite games on. I ain't got to sell you on Martin's. I really had to sell you on Martin's. Y'all know how great it is. And now they got one right out here in Madison County. Don't forget the little Martin's gas station. It's called Martin's Market. It's connected to the Livingston location. Great, good gasoline. And of course, they got those Southern style chicken biscuits every morning, made from scratch, the biscuits and the hand battered chicken. Get over there now. Tell them the Clay Edwards Show and Shaun Yurtkuran sent you over there. All right, let's see here. Pivoting back to our live show.
Mhm.
We were talking during the break a little bit about a little election fatigue.
Yeah.
And actually, let's tell you what. Let's take a call here.
Okay.
Let's see. On the Mazda Jackson phone line. Hey, you're on there.
Yeah. So I don't really think that the the Trump voter stuff is calling them garbage is a big deal. I mean, because they weren't going to vote for her in the beginning anyway.
Well,
so,
no, I don't disagree, but what it does is it pivots the news cycle. Because the news cycle was consumed with this Puerto Rico thing.
Yeah.
And now the right wing news cycles have something else to.
And ain't just right wing. ABC was blasting it this morning.
Yeah. So now it's Biden calls half of America garbage.
Yeah,
so
which broke away from
just takes the momentum back.
And her speech last night was about unity, and then you got this. It just kind of ruins all that. So
it's just, there's no undecided voters. So it's not going to swing anything. And people's already made up their mind anyway. So
I agree.
Yeah, but it's also coming from a basically mentally 200-year-old man. So it doesn't matter. I don't know. I'll be glad when it's over with. But yeah, that's all I thought.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, man.
Good hearing from you again.
Yeah, the undecided thing I think is, so I read something about the Trump campaign that they believe there's about 5% undecided voters. Which seemed kind of high to me, but that's kind of their prediction that there's like a 5%, undecided. I think the real issue here isn't the undecided; it's who's going to show up, in the end of the day, like who's going to actually go vote, and that's your turnout is kind of the biggest thing at this point.
I think we'll agree on this. I think Trump supporters are way more excited about Trump than Democrats are about Kamala. Which I think y'all are having to depend on. I say y'all, Democrats are having to depend on Trump hate to get people out to the ballot, where Trump supporters are true Trump supporters. I don't think there's a whole lot of just die in the wool, ride or die Kamala supporters.
Yeah,
it's Team Blue.
It's Team Blue. I agree with that. I don't think it's not like an Obama year, where everybody's going to get out to vote for him. I think it's definitely like we hate Trump kind of thing. But also I think I think that's his ceiling with his MAGA base, right? Like it's around what do they call it, like 40% or something like that. I think he's still got to motivate people that aren't necessarily Trump fans to vote, or he can't win. He can't win with just his high ceiling number. He's got to have those people too, and so that's kind of a big thing for them to make sure those people show up.
Well, I think you get a lot of that, kind of like what Reagan was saying there, from people who aren't happy with the way the last 4 years are going.
Right, and that's the message the Trump campaign's been trying to push is you got to get those. And back then, what Reagan called those were Reagan Democrats, and as you know, and so I think you have to get those people to say okay. And the thing is, Trump's biggest problem with that has been like his personality, like those people putting aside that, saying, heck it, we like him because of the policies. We're going to just, deal with that. We don't really like him personally. And that's been kind of their whole, that's the issue for them getting those people out. But that's strategy for him to do that. And, Kamala, like you said, I think I agree, is it's not anybody's really totally about her. It's about they hate him. So that's who those people go to the polls for.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, people who are looking for this perfect president where you got to like his personality and his policy, those are pampered little punks and the participation award recipients.
Yeah,
life ain't like that. I've worked for some really, really good bosses that I just personally hated, that I wouldn't drink a beer with, but they were great leaders, and we made money.
Yeah,
I don't need to like you to appreciate you doing a good job. And people looking for this perfect elixir. Well, I don't know, man. He says offensive things. I don't care. Am I making money? And is life good up under this person? You know what? So be it.
Yeah, but I think likability is important though in politics, especially, right? That's a huge thing, dude. Let's go back to George W. Bush, right?
I love Trump.
Yeah, I know you do.
But I am getting
you
I'm
love
getting the
him.
best of both worlds.
I know
I'm
you
getting
are
a great leader and a guy that I like.
Right, but many people do not, and many people that do not are still voting for him. That's my point. Like, how do you get that where the people that do not and are going to vote for him, that's the issue, I think.
I think
and
they
he's
need
at
to see a psychiatrist, because I think if you don't like Trump, it's a you problem. I was like, how do you not like this guy? How do you not like somebody who's authentic?
Well, I mean, I think I don't know, for many reasons. I mean, I think he does say offensive things to people, or that it bothers them. I mean, it just bothers them. I mean, that seems to be the whole rub, the whole issue with it. Like, if he didn't say these things, he would be doing a lot better than he is right now, I think.
I disagree. I think he's being authentic. And I mean, I don't know what he says that bothers people so bad. He's just being real. He's saying what most people are saying.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I just think, he's he could. Okay, I'll give you the example here. So when I thought the campaign,
you have a normalcy bias,
right? I do, absolutely. I'm very normal.
And you have a normalcy bias, and it kind of fogs up your ability to see that we're that doesn't matter.
I think it does, though. I think. Well, I'll tell you why. Okay, so I'll give you an example from this election. In August and early September, he's talking about she's not really black or cats and dogs, and he's not doing as well. He cuts that out, gets rid of the lower loomers, starts going on these podcasts, changes strategy, and then he's doing well. And I think that does prove my point, because like he got rid of the crazy stuff and starts focusing on policy and normal humanizing was a big Trump campaign thing, and he starts doing well. So I think those things, I think that actually could be the tipping point, is that he did get rid of that stuff. I do think that still.
Well, I don't believe Laura Loomer was actually an official part of the campaign.
No, but he was showing up to 9/11 memorial with her and all this stuff, and then finally the campaign staff, once I forget who did he fire at that time. He fired and they brought Lewandowski back, I think, and I mean, so they changed the trajectory of it, and it was effective at that point.
Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Who left this book?
I have no clue.
Every vote equal. This is like a liberal position. That sounds weird. In the studio, who is reading this?
No, I don't know.
This is Kim's book.
There's no telling, man. Stuff gets left in this studio all the time. I mean, like, you got some kind of hostage package over there for Kim too. I mean, people leave all kind of crazy stuff here.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's look at some comments.
Yeah.
Let's look at some comments. A lot of people just kind of talking to themselves. Kevin says the 2025 insurrection is being planned. Are we going to make trips? How are we doing the insurrection this year? Will it be on TV? Steven says, so what does Kamala say that makes people vote for her? Just Trump bad? I mean, she's doing the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's her strategy, right? Trump bad. Yeah,
Trump
I mean,
bad.
that's her strategy.
Nothing. She got a little deeper last night, but at the end of the day, it was still Trump bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should call him a tyrant. Yeah, I mean, I think, well, that's what she's. I think that's been the issue, and I said this on Facebook several times. One of the issues in her campaign the last few weeks is she switched back to the old Biden strategy of like threat to democracy. That people don't really like that. People don't look
because they can't explain it.
Well, people don't like negative stuff. At the end of the day, that's why enemy within has hurt him. I really believe that. And then threats to democracy has hurt her. And like, people just don't want that crap. And when you've got to run on something else other than that, you cannot. People vote because when you say I'm going to change things, hope, change, whole Obama thing. They don't vote on negativity. Like, they just don't. And the last few weeks, she switched to this whole crap. Now, last night, and you and I were talking about last night, was the first time I heard her change that narrative, and but that seems like it's kind of late at this point. So, but we'll see. But I mean, that was the first time I was like, wow, you're actually talking about something positive. You went with this. If she loses, there's going to be a big autopsy in the Democratic Party about the strategy of this campaign in the closing weeks, which have been really poor, in my opinion. And the way this messaging that they've not realized, because one of the biggest problems with her that everybody polls and says is that we don't know what her policies are. So you've not defined that to anybody, and this is why, like, I've decided I'm not voting for him, but I'm not voting for her. I'm going to vote for that Chase Oliver guy, the libertarian. And the reason with her is because I don't know what's she going to do? She's not said anything. So you can't run it. You got to run a campaign. Obama did this in 2008. He ran a campaign on very specific things he planned on doing. She's not done that at all. Like, I couldn't tell. I can barely tell you one thing she's planning on doing. I really don't know. I mean, I've read her platform.
She made a bunch of lies about Trump, just like crazy stuff, like tearing up the Constitution, and just all kind of crap. I know that's not her I know that's not her policy. I'm just thinking about the stuff that the media lets her get away with saying completely unchecked.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's wild, the accusations they let her, because it's like they want it to be true.
Well, yeah, I mean, the mainstream media is going to be in the tank. I mean, obviously for that. So they're going to, whatever she says, like, you're going to tear up the Constitution, burn it down, all that kind of stuff. It's going to go. I mean, they were saying, before to defend the Republicans here, like, before the stupid Puerto Rican stuff, the Democrats were calling it a Nazi rally 3 days before it ever happened. Well, where was the justification for that? You know what I mean? Like, where the media's reporting
zero justification for any of the Nazi stuff.
Well, that's what I mean. Like,
first time they've ever said it.
Well, that's my problem, though. The dichotomy is what I'm saying. Like, so, like, it's okay for you to say it's a Nazi rally, and then you're getting mad. And I agree the Puerto Rican jokes were stupid and offensive or whatever. Like, but then you're like, oh, we don't like this. But I mean, you were just calling everybody a Nazi like 3 days before that. Like,
All right. We're getting ready to come back from the break. We're going to have less than a minute when we come back.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back in. Guys, we got about a minute before the top of the hour, 7-minute news break. When we come back, a couple of topics that I want to hit include, but not limited to, Jeff Bezos did an op-ed in the Washington Post talking about just how disliked or untrusted the media is, and he hit the nail on the head, and they are mad within WAPO about it. Also, some GPS data has come out about the people that were in attendance last night at the Antifa BLM pro-Palestine rally that 3K Kamala had at the same location that in 1924 the Ku Klux Klan once had a rally in Washington, D.C. We're going to talk about that and more with Shaun Yurtkuran on the Clay Edwards Show. Stay tuned.
Hey, is this what I need to buy right here? This one?
Yeah, was that that's the pod mic with the stand?
Yeah.
That includes the stand.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
you don't want they make another one that also works off a USB.
Yeah,
but you don't need that.
Okay,
so
this
like
one comes
$200. That's the XLR. That's the same one I have.
Okay, the same one you got.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And it comes with the wire for it. So I just plugged the wire in that mixer.
Does that include a wire?
Yeah.
The cable? Yeah. Good.
It says. So I see. Okay, cool.
Sean's buying a podcast setup to start doing some stuff from his house.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting him all set up with some equipment. Happy for that. Excited to see what kind of stuff you guys end up producing.
Yeah, it's called. We were Lindsay and I were talking about last night. We're going to do some stuff from the house right there, like really at the dining room table. She actually came up with that idea. Kind of like Rogan has that table. I thought it was pretty cool, and kind of try that out. And I just love this. I love equipment too. I have a fetish problem where I see you with all this stuff, and I'm like, oh man, I'm like that's really cool. I really want my own stuff.
And it's fun.
Yeah, it's really fun.
It's fun to start piecing it all together and figuring out how to make it work. There's people who text me all the time about the kind of gear we use and stuff, and the cameras and this, that, and the other. Shout out to Alan. He texted me the other day about it, and I enjoy talking about it. People are like, I know you're busy, but I was like, no, I make time to talk about equipment. I'm a tech nerd.
Equipment is it's really cool stuff. But yeah, I really like it. I like those microphones on the stand when we do the live streams too. And I've been wanting one, and so
yeah. Now in the studio, like your home studio, I would consider getting the boom stand. Getting like these.
Really,
and they have the base that's like a C clamp that come with them.
Yeah, because I've seen those in there. Right.
Well, I actually got the ones that are covered. They don't have
at your house.
Yeah. So, let's see here. Rob says even Visit Jackson uses GPS data to determine economic impact of events. It's very common. Oh yeah, the GPS stuff is legit, and that's what they use for January 6th, the worst day in the history of the Americas. Let's see here. Let's read some text. Guys, if y'all got any questions out there in internet land, feel free to ask them. It can be a AMA, ask us anything, ask me anything. Lane says on the Guns and Gear text line, folks don't like Trump, do like Tulsi and RFK, Vivek, Elon, and so on. That is an interesting thought process there, Sean.
What is it?
Lane was just saying, even the folks that may not like Trump, but may appreciate the fact that he's pulled in Tulsi and RFK, so on and so forth. And I agree with that.
I agree with that.
Do you see that on the Democrat side? Do you see people like, well, I don't like Kamala, but there's so-and-so that's a surrogate that I really do like.
Yeah, I do. I'll give you an example, and not the Cheneys, which I think is stupid, but there's a lot of Republicans that were. It's called. I know you said they're not Republicans, but I'm saying initially they're Republicans. Like so I was reading, like Barbara Bush was out campaigning for the George W. Bush's daughter this past weekend,
Terrible.
and the Christy Todd Whitman was out there. There's several Republican congressmen. Then a lot of people, I guess, people that worked in Trump's administration. I think, and the point is, I think the Democrats are hoping those people will draw like a moderate Republicans over to her. Kind of same thing I think Trump is thinking with RFK and Tulsi.
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with you that that's what they're hoping. I'm going to say that that's not going to pan out the way they want it to.
And very well. But I see, same though I see with the Tulsi and or I don't know if it's going to pan out like somebody that's a hardcore Democrat to be like, because I think a lot of Democrats think RFK is a Republican anyway, and that Tulsi's Republican anyway. So
I think the only thing that RFK is a Republican on is the vaccine stuff and the medical stuff. Like he's not a gun guy. He's not a
he's a big environmentalist too.
He's a big environmentalist. Yeah. I mean, if we're just being remove personal biases, he is absolutely a Democrat.
Yeah, I think he is too. Oh yeah, I think so. I just saying the way he's viewed by people in the party.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's
I know we thought it would be neat for him to be VP, but I thought it was a terrible long-term play if you're looking at what you do in 4 years, because I don't think he's gonna. I don't know that I want an anti-gun environmentalist.
Is he anti-gun too?
He's had his dad and his uncle killed by guns. I'm guessing he's not a big gun guy.
Yeah,
and I would understand why.
Yeah,
I mean, I get it. I don't agree, but I'm just saying I would understand. But let me ask this. Do you think there's people who are more left of center that will get pulled over to the right because Trump seems to be more arms wide open and listening to people from left of center? Versus, like, to me, and this is a bias here, to me it feels like people who are right of center are way less likely to get pulled to the left.
Yeah.
Like there's nobody in middle ground Republican that's going to say I'm supporting Kamala
because I can deal with her policies. Maybe is what you mean.
Yeah.
Like instead of just like I hate Trump. I mean,
you're like who? Trump has made it clear he's clearly going to use RFK in his cabinet.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say. Like, I mean,
she ain't putting any Republican in her cabinet.
I mean, she said that last night. She was in a speech. She said it a few times, but no. But I know I get where you're going with this. Like, is she like so liberal that a right of center person wouldn't,
Yeah.
And maybe so. I do think, but I like I've thought about this about him a lot, and this goes back to the rhetoric stuff, right? Where I wish he doesn't do that, because a lot of his policies, if you're breaking them down, are not traditionally conservative policies.
Yeah.
That a lot of Democrats agreed with a long time ago. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so I can go back to 16. The Bernie bros, that's what helped him win the election.
Yeah.
A lot of the Bernie bros voted for him because a lot of stuff Trump was saying was stuff Bernie was saying that they agreed with. So, I mean, yeah. So to your point, I do think that because we've already proven that that's happened in the past. In 2016, without the Bernie people, I don't think Trump wins the election in 2016 that voted for him. And believe because the Democrats are mad about it forever. But I mean, he's not really, I mean, yes, he put the Supreme Court justices, but I don't think he's pro-life. So, I mean, there's that. He's got a tariff. That is the most anti-conservative thing I've ever heard of, is a huge tariff program. So he's not really, that's something Bernie would do. So I don't know. I think you're right. I think that, left to center could be pulled to him easier. I could see that. Yeah. That's
Thank
true.
you for articulating that better than I was trying to. I was just trying to say, it just feels like with his policy, it would be easier to pull left to center versus her extremely progressive policies. I don't think you're pulling anybody right of center just because somebody with Bush or Cheney's last name is up there, who we have written off from the party a long time ago. Now, I know there's some traditional neocon rhino type conservatives who, miss the days of Bush and stuff, but I have definitely not one of them. I am definitely not one of them. I look back and regret ever supporting a Bush or a Cheney, and granted, lesser of the two evils, but all right, we're coming back.
Well, let me grab water real quick. My throat's dry. throat was dry. I had to get a water. All right, I bought the 2 mics. So now I got that's all I need, right? Is the
Boom, shakalaka boom. Boom goes the dynamite. It is hour 2 of the most incendiary show on the radio. This is the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun Yurtkuran here on 103.9 FM WYAB, streaming worldwide at WYAB.com, as well as the TuneIn app and Alexa. Just search WYAB for all the audio you can handle. Also, we are streaming in video 4K on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SaveJXN, as well as Rumble at Clay Edwards Show. Check out all those platforms. Everything appears to be working this morning. So fingers crossed it remains the same. This segment brought to you by our good friends over at Lakeland Glass and Tint, now open in downtown Brandon, right there on the corner of, I call it Highway 80. Technically, it's West Government Boulevard and 471 in the old glass shop there. They're doing window tints and windshields, I believe, are the 2 things they're doing out of that location. So check them out there. Start online at lakelandglassandtint.com for a free quote today. And don't forget, man, they can handle everything you need from your home, car, and business when it comes to window tinting. I see they tinted the vault in downtown Brandon there. I saw a picture of that the other day. I don't know how long that's been done, but neither here nor there. They did that building. They do buildings. They can do your home. They can do your office, help cut down on your utility cost and whatnot, and frankly, just keep it a little bit cooler and a little bit of that sun out of your eyes in some of these big plate glass window type buildings, particularly car lots. And don't forget, they can turn your vehicle into a rolling billboard. That's right. They do wraps at Lakeland Glass and Tint, as well as paint protection film, obviously window tint, windshield replacement, and ceramic coating and paint correction. They're your one-stop shop for all of that type stuff. They're the Expel Installer of the Year 2 years in a row. And I'm going to guess they're probably going to end up being number 3 this year if they haven't already won it. Lakeland Glass and Tint, 601-946-1000. All right, Shaun Yurtkuran. We had a really good conversation during the break that the people online got to benefit from, but I think it's too good. It's too good not to bring to the radio. So we're going to do that in a minute. And it is left of center people versus right of center people being pulled the opposite direction. Who's got the ability to do that best? But we tease the GPS stuff, so I definitely want to go ahead and hit that. Oh, trying to stay on track. We promised something, we actually going to deliver it. There was some interesting GPS data that came out about last night's Kamala Harris rally. And they've been doing this. This guy on YouTube, not YouTube, but X here, Tony Saruga. He does intel ops for the CIA, NSA. He's a contractor. He's a whistleblower, all that stuff. I mean, I don't think you got to be a rocket scientist to access GPS data. My buddy Rob even said the city of Jackson uses it for convention and visitor stuff. Car dealerships use GPS data. It's called geofencing. Businesses use it. You have access to it. So the GPS data last night, there was not 75,000 people there. There was 31,834 mobile devices there. Now, sure, could over half the audience not have had a cell phone? I guess it's possible, however unlikely. So there were 31,834 mobile devices at the Ellipse in Washington, D.C., same place that the Ku Klux Klan held a rally in 1924. 91% of them have attended 3 or more Harris rallies. Interesting. Just over 11,000 were from the trans woman capital of the world, Atlanta. That's right. There's more men who think they're women in Atlanta than anywhere else per capita. That's so weird. And actually, that's not weird at all to me. That's actually been a running joke or running meme for years. Anyway, 11,000 from Atlanta, followed by 6,500 people from California. So that would be right at 17,500 people, over half the audience from Atlanta and California alone. So they have some GPS historical data where they go back and they look at Antifa, BLM, and pro-Palestine rallies over the last year. And they call it overlays. 6,122 of those 31,834 were linked to 3 or more Antifa, BLM, pro-Palestine protests and riots. I wonder if any of our friends from the Mississippi Free Press that were doing their shenanigans up at Ole Miss this summer were there.
Yeah,
But this is interesting data.
I'd like to see his methodology and the actual data, other than some guy on Twitter posting this. I would like to see that. I mean, how he knows that somebody was just
for the sake of conversation, let's assume it's real.
Okay, I mean, assuming it's real.
I mean, it seems very legit. I mean, this guy's known for this stuff. I mean, it isn't just some random. You can go back through his Twitter feed. This is what he does.
Okay, so he can tell that somebody was at a BLM rally. The same person was at a BLM rally.
Yeah, you could trace that. You can trace that phone. I mean, Sean, this is how they put all the GP. This is how they put all the people in jail at January 6th.
Right. I understand that, but I mean,
It's called geofencing.
But the FBI had that capability to do that, right? I mean,
you have that capability to pull in and tap into whatever systems they use. I mean, I don't know how to do it.
Yeah,
but hell, they did it with they did it in the Polo trial. You've done this stuff in court before,
right? But I mean, but law enforcement did it. I mean, you or I don't have access to that. We're not able to get that.
Again, for the sake of argument.
Okay.
We'll figure out how he did it at some point. I'm not going to do it live on air.
All right.
For the sake of conversation, this fits this goes to show that I think a lot of these are paid agitators, paid participants, people that get bussed in to go do these things. I don't think it's nearly as organic as they would have you believe it was. Frankly, where were the black people at?
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of black people. I didn't notice that from the.
It was a lot of what I would say at the best mid-5s. A lot of really unattractive women.
I didn't really get a look at. I just saw the crowd.
A lot of white people. Where's the black support for Kamala in one of the blackest cities in America, in Washington D.C.?
I don't know. I guess they weren't hanging out on the National Mall. I mean, I did see some black folks on Twitter and stuff that were there, but I wasn't really, but I did notice it was significantly wider, to your point, than you would have thought. Yeah, I did notice that.
We're getting some text from people. Geofence is public information shared by Apple and Google. So,
okay.
But again, I find it very interesting that many people were also at 3 or more of these rallies. It just goes to show that there's a lot of these paid agitators that are going to these big Democrat events.
Mm-hmm. Whatchamacallit? Well, I mean, if she's trying to put on the facade that there's more people, then I guess we'll find out that result of that on Tuesday. Whether this is all just made up. And
what do you think about them being so many people that go to riots and like to destroy things?
I mean, I don't think that's good. If that's what you're asking, I don't think that's a good thing that they like to go to destroy things.
I think this is why this is going to pivot to our other conversation here. I think this is why it's going to be way harder for people right of center to be wooed over to Kamala Harris, because I don't think anybody right of center wants to be associated with Antifa, BLM, pro-Palestine terrorist.
No, but they also don't like January 6th. I mean, those people don't like January 6th either. I mean, that's just a real problem.
Nobody really thinks January 6th was an insurrection.
I'm not saying that.
You can go back and pull that data, and I bet you can find a lot of those people that were at January 6th were also at BLM riots in 2020.
Well, I mean, did I need to see that? But I think a lot of people are disturbed by it, to the very least.
What is there to be disturbed by? So it's a if we're going to look at it for what it is, it was a protest that got out of hand.
Yeah, which they found just was pretty disturbing. I mean, there was still like the Oath Keepers were convicted of stockpiling weapons across the Potomac. I mean, there was some serious stuff there. Now, not everybody was, and I agree with you there, but it still has bothered a lot of the country. I mean, just to be honest.
I mean, but the same people who allegedly are bothered by that supported BLM burning down the country. So I can't give a damn that people are bothered by January 6th when those same very people didn't give a damn that BLM were mostly peaceful protests.
Well, you asked about right of center people, and that was my explanation, because what I've read about them, a lot of them do cite that as a concern. So that being an issue.
I can't get in that headspace. Where I'm at in my head just does not allow me to look at January 6th as a concern. The reaction to it from our government and trampling on our free speech and our rights to protest is a big concern. A very big concern. The reaction to January 6th is a very big concern, because what you're telling us is basically Also, if you look at the people who got sent to jail, so many of them who just kind of wandered into the Capitol because it was sheer chaos and they left the doors wide open and were escorting people in. They're saying, you want to talk about entrapment? There's entrapment.
Mm.
You know, Chockway wants to know what entrapment looks like. People who were just kind of who were guided into the front door, little MAGA meemaws, they got sent to prison for just walking through the Capitol, the People's Building.
Right.
That's entrapment. So what they're telling us is conservatives are not allowed to protest, but Democrats can go pull the same thing. There's been multiple insurrections. They tried to burn down the federal courthouse in Portland.
Yeah.
The pro-choice people stormed the Supreme Court. They've done all these things, and there's never any consequence or repercussions for these people. But you let a couple folks break some windows and walk into the Capitol with some bullhorns on their head and look
assault
like
law enforcement officers too. They did do that.
They what?
They assaulted law enforcement officers.
Man, most of those guys beat their own butts.
That I did not. I mean, you could see it on the
They
videos.
Nobody got killed that day.
That's fine, but I mean,
the only person that got killed by a poor little white lady. Got killed by that black guy who also left his gun on the pisser one time. Very irresponsible. You know, I can't feign outrage about something from the same people who refuse to feign outrage about what happened in 2020.
Well, and I understand that's your position, but I'm just saying you asked about right of center people, and I think when I'm reading that's a concern. I think that would push them to Kamala if that's the only thing I think that really could.
But but I can't understand how January 6th triggers them enough to push somebody right of center to Kamala, but Kamala actually raising bail money for BLM rioters doesn't push them back left.
Well, maybe it will.
I
mean, like I said, again, we've got an election on Tuesday that'll show whether that's true or not. I mean, that's, you know.
So what led to this what Shaun and I are talking about? Because the people that are listening online are kind of slightly ahead of the radio audience. Radio audience, what we're talking about is during the break, kind of stumbled into this conversation about Trump's done really good with pulling people left of center, like political figures left of center, over to support him. Well, they're now Tulsi Gabbard has denounced being a Democrat altogether. She is now a Republican. Robert F. Kennedy, whatever you want to call him, I think he's a Democrat. That just so happened that we line up on this health stuff. I agree with him there, but I don't think he's I don't think he's a pro-gun guy, and he's definitely an environmentalist to an extent of crazy.
Yeah, he's pretty environmentalist, right?
Yeah. I mean, they even joked about that on the Rogan podcast, right?
Yeah, and that's right. They said that we're not going to put him in charge of anything.
Yeah. And I mean, like even Trump said, this is something else Trump said that flew under the radar. I was thinking about it on the way in. Something Trump said that flew under the radar was that Rogan asked him, are you getting any pushback for wrapping your arms around RFK and welcoming him in and promising him basically, he's going to be a part of your administration. You go, oh yeah. There's been a lot. And he said, well, from who? He said, a big pharma.
Oh yeah.
And what I guess I would like to know the context of that without flipping completely out. Is Big Pharma supporting Trump? Is Trump in bed with Big Pharma? Or was Trump just saying that Big Pharma doesn't like it because they know that him and Trump are teaming up to come after them? Because in the context I heard it in, it sounded like Big Pharma is giving money to Trump and they don't like it.
That they don't, because Big Pharma's giving money to Trump. They don't like that RFK's there.
That's what it sounded like to me.
I'm sure they're giving money to both candidates, Clay, though, right?
True enough.
I bet they're throwing it around.
If Mary Jo Perry is listening this morning, she would know this is her thing. Mary Jo, if you're listening this morning and you know what I'm talking about, I would like to get your thoughts on that.
That's a good question, though. I mean, I think also what we were talking about on the online segment, though, now we're flipped to why left of center people would vote for Trump. Well, I mean, we were evidence of that in 2016. I mean, the big part of the reason he got elected is because the Bernie bros were so upset about what happened to Bernie that they voted for Trump.
The question I asked Shaun was, which candidate do you feel has the ability to pull more people? Can Trump pull people left of center over to vote for him because of his policy? Or does Kamala have the ability to pull people right of center over to her?
Yeah.
And I think we both agree that if we're just talking about policy, Trump has the ability to pull more people left to center over to the right.
Yeah, I think well, yeah, I think that's probably true in terms of policy, right? Like the because I don't think Trump's a conservative anyway. I mean, like I think a lot of his policies are basically they were populist essentially.
I think he's a barstool conservative. I don't think
Yeah.
he's a country club Republican, even though he owns country clubs. I don't think he's what we traditionally consider. He's not a Tate Reeves Republican.
No, he's not. I mean, he's I mean, he does a tax cut, but other than that, I mean, what else? Like that's. I mean, he's for tariffs. I bet you there's not a single traditional Republican that's for that. So yeah, and I think Bernie's for tariffs. Bernie's like that's a big thing for Bernie. So Bernie the Bernie people voted for him because there was a lot of times I remember in 16. I'm on those get all those emails from Our Revolution and they're because I always hated the Bernie guys and they were just talking about how that Trump aligned with a lot of things that they felt because they're almost a little America first too. You know what I mean? Like the Bernie, when you look at the Bernie coalition, like there are a lot of that kind of resonates with them. So yeah, I think like he's able to. I think he can get those voters back, and that's what propelled him victory last time. More so than Kamala can get Republicans.
So Bernie's a communist.
Well, I mean, yeah, I know, but I'm saying a lot of things, their policy positions were aligned. Heck, even if you look back in 2016, even Trump said this. Trump said that me and Bernie agree on a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I mean, he said it.
But yeah, I mean, the Bernie Bros were a big. I think that's pushed Trump across the finish line.
Because and that goes my thing where he's not really a conservative in my mind because I mean you got the Bernie Bros want to vote for you, they're definitely not conservatives. But do
you think the Bernie Bros grew up and became conservative?
That became conservative? I don't know. I don't know.
You're talking about
8 years ago.
You're talking about a bunch of young folks, right? That are kind of that Bernie Bro mentality. It's kind of that frat bro kind of mentality. And I know I'm not calling frat bros and Bernie Bros the same thing. Yeah. I'm just saying age group wise, it's kind of the same thing. And you typically grow up into being more of a moderate.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot, unless you're Bernie himself, right?
Right. Once reality hits and those taxes start coming out of that check, and you start seeing where your money's going and how little of it you get, you become pretty conservative pretty quick.
Well, I definitely think that in 16 it would have helped Trump more. That's going to help this time, primarily because Bernie got screwed over that year.
Yeah.
So those people were still activated. Now they're still it's called his organization Our Revolution, and they're still activated, but not like to the extent
they got screwed over in 2020.
Yeah, in 2020 he got screwed over too. So they were a little bit more, but this year he's kind of not really been on the. I mean, how old is Bernie?
Well, he can't now. He's sold out.
I mean, he's
sold. We got to take a break.
Yeah.
We got to take a break. We'll be right back with Shaun Yurtkuran here on the Clay Edwards Show. The Mazda Jackson phone line 601-879-0002. I know we're all over the place, but I would like to get you guys' thoughts and opinions on this stuff. The Guns and Gear text line 769-241-1944. We'll dive into some of y'all's comments and text when we get back from the break. Online listeners, we're actually going to take a break for just a second. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. We're live here on WYAB. This segment brought to you by our good friends over at Mazda of Jackson, proud sponsors of the Mazda Jackson phone line. There's never been a better time to buy Mazda, and the best deals around are at Mazda of Jackson. Mazda is, in fact, one of the top 5 most dependable brands around, and Mazda of Jackson has hundreds of new and used cars available right now on the ground, right there on location at their Jackson dealership on I-55 Frontage Road, right at Briarwood. It's right next to the old Cowboy Maloney's Electric City. You know where it's at. Guys, did you know that every new Mazda comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty? That's right. Also, Mazda of Jackson is locally owned and locally operated. The owners, the car family, they sit there, they work the deals as the sales managers and the owners, as well as once you purchase your vehicle, you get their personal cell phone number. So if you have any troubles, you don't have to go through the middleman. You don't have to get the salesperson to ask them this and all this, that, and the other. You get to go voice any concerns you may have directly with the owner there. And I'm going to tell you, after 12 years in the car business, that is a rarity. And that is the kind of folks you want to do business with, because they're worried, they're truly concerned about you. A lot of managers and a lot of folks put 7 or 8 layers of management between themselves and the customer, and that's not necessarily a bad thing either. but with that said, MazdaJackson.com, you can shop online or stop by in person. See my buddy Grady Portera over there, or whoever catches you out on the lot. But Grady's a good dude. He's one of us, good folks. I worked with him for a long time. Mazda of Jackson. Check out the new CX-90. Gorgeous, gorgeous vehicle. All right, let's see here.
Jeff Bezos.
That's exactly where we were going. Jeff Bezos. Sean, set it up.
All right. Well, I don't know if everybody knows, but the Washington Post did not make a presidential endorsement this cycle, and they decided that, I guess about a week ago, they were going to do this. This caused a lot of outrage by subscribers that they were not going to make, and some of the editorial staff apparently.
Which is kind of funny. Like, do you really care? Do you need your newspaper to back somebody?
Yeah, it's like, because the Clarion Ledger says vote for X, I'm be like, oh, you know what? That's it. I need to somebody the I don't know, in the media is going to determine the way my vote's going to go.
They've lost 250,000 subscribers over the last couple of years, and you have to assume those were conservative subscribers.
Yeah, and they lost another 200,000 in the last week because of this.
Yeah,
they had a mass exodus, and I was listening to Young Turks, and Cenk was talking about the other night. He said the people that are mad about them not endorsing Kamala Harris, we're going to vote for Kamala Harris anyway. Like, it wasn't going to convince anybody that to vote for her, but they're mad because they're like, well, you were supposed to endorse Kamala Harris because the editorial board wanted to endorse Kamala Harris. And so they all canceled their subscriptions. It was like, well, you guys reading the paper were already going to vote for her. Like, what are you really mad about? Like,
they want you to get in line.
Yeah, and so Bezos wrote an op-ed a couple nights ago, and I thought it was great. I sent it to Clay. I thought it was great. He just kind of, of course, it's self-serving. Don't get me wrong. We're talking about Jeff Bezos here, or Bezos, or however you say his name. Anyway, but he said that,
who also owns Amazon? For the 5 people that may not know that.
The 5 people that don't know that, yeah. He of course, he's been losing money on the Washington Post for years. He's just trying to keep it alive. And he said that look, we just got to be honest with ourselves. Distrust in the media is the highest it's ever been. Like, we already don't. People already do not trust the media. They just don't. And we have to work on that. And so us endorsing, he said, by endorsing a presidential candidate, it makes them look even more biased, because then they're definitely holding the water for whoever the candidate is. And I thought that made a lot of sense. I'm like, why, if you're supposed to be this unbiased, neutral reporting, why are you endorsing anyone? You don't need to endorse anybody, because then you're showing that you are biased, because you're writing things in favor. And the media is not supposed to do that. And he's another concern he brought up. He's like,
well, because they look at Trump as an existential threat. And if you don't agree that he's an existential threat, if you're not 100% with us, you're against us. And how you have to understand the importance of this election, because Trump's a threat to democracy. And if you're not openly supporting Kamala, then you're quietly supporting Trump, and that's an existential threat to our democracy. And where's my cat?
Yeah, I mean, they so I mean, he said that the problem is like many people are turning to off-the-cuff podcasts, inaccurate social media posts, and other verified news sources, which can quickly spread misinformation and deepen divisions. And we've seen this. This is true.
Like when like when the WAPO and the New York Times and all of them spread the Russian PP dossier misinformation.
Well, I think that's kind of what he's alluding to, though,
Yeah.
about trying to change direction from this, like this completely, biased reporting that's been going on that everybody sees. Whether even if on you're okay, everybody in the right sees it. If you're in the left and you're being, you're being
Intellectually
objective,
honest.
yeah, I mean, you can see that the mainstream papers are biased towards the left. And I mean, I think if you're on the right and you're watching Fox News, you should think that it's biased towards the right. I mean, I don't know how you can take that either way.
Look, and I don't watch it because I don't want overtly biased one direction or another.
Right. I mean, I don't like people telling me what I'm supposed to think. That's my biggest problem. And the Post does that. The New York Times does it. And and obviously they're speaking, and Bezos talks about it in here. They're speaking to each other. Like they're speaking to elites. They're not speaking to people. Like they're speaking to other newspaper editors. And that's been a problem. And he said, look, people are going to get their information from places that are not vetting it correctly, that's spreading it. And everybody's just going to be not informed. We're supposed to do, like, we're paid to do the correct work. And that's what I want to do. I want to make sure we're doing the right work that's not biased. And I want, wants to work towards that goal, which I think, look, if he's being honest, I think it's a great goal, great idea. I don't know, that he is, but that's what he's saying. He doesn't want to make endorsements. He doesn't want to be biased. And he wants to get people to trust the media again, which is a great task because I don't know when that's going to happen.
I got some breaking news.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, speaking of Amazon, breaking news. There's another fight going on right now at the Amazon fulfillment center in Jackson.
They must have heard, their ears must have been ringing.
The employees are constantly fighting over there.
Really?
To the point that I've heard rumors that Amazon may pack up and leave Jackson because they're so fed up with the cops getting called every day because of employees fighting one another.
You talking about the old Comcast building over there?
Mm-hmm. And I mean, look, this has become like a running joke around here. It's the Amazon employees fighting each other over there. So breaking news there. Speaking of Amazon, the employees are fisticuffing. At least they're not shooting each other, right?
I mean, there's a silver lining. Let's.
Hey, I want to tell you about a podcast real quick that I'm about halfway through.
Yeah.
That's kind of on the same topic here of sorts. And I mentioned about you having a normalcy bias, so it's hard for you to get to you have a natural disposition to not believe conspiracies.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's a podcast that I stumbled on last night. It's Chris Williamson and Eric Weinstein.
Mm-hmm.
And two hyper intelligent individuals. I'm about halfway through it. I highly recommend it. I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah.
But it's got 8.4 million views at this point.
Are they telling me why I should believe in conspiracy theories?
No, no. It's just it kind of peels the onion back about intellectuals, highly, smart people, so to say, overly educated people or overeducated people, just having a natural disposition and a normalcy bias to not want to believe, quote unquote, conspiracy theories. He just talked about these conspiracies don't mean something's not true. He's like, there's people who create conspiracies on the inside who are part of conspiracies, and on the outside, there's the people who aren't on the inside, and you're trying to understand these, and therefore these are theories of trying to understand the conspiracies. He's like, there's nut jobs out there, and I guess everybody always points to Alex Jones as being a conspiracy theory nut job, but you and I are just conspiracy theorists the way we break down the elections and stuff. We're theorizing.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't make us crazy people.
No, I mean, but we're right. We're coming up with different scenarios that could happen here and there, right?
Sure. And at the end of the day, that's kind of what I don't know. I'm gonna make this available. Anybody that wants it,
I'll listen to it.
You need 3 hours or 2.5 hours of your time, but it's two super intelligent people that have the disposition to not believe everything they hear. Mm-hmm. And they're explaining it from in a non-insulting way for a guy like me to understand their position.
I mean, I totally agree that we should not believe everything we hear or read because it's been a problem. My problem with but I don't think everything's a conspiracy either. I think there becomes like conspiracy-a-thon where everything has to be a conspiracy. And the reason and this comes from my prosecution years is why I think this, because every time I'm prosecuting some dudes involved in anything, someone talks every time they talk. I mean, they can't keep like robbing the freaking gas station quiet. Somebody on the street said, yeah, man, guess what we did? So it's like when they had a conspiracy to rob a gas station, somebody leaks it. So my thing with conspiracies, it's like, say we were talking about the moon landing the other day, and like with the conspiracy that big, like somebody would have said something. Like
let's pull it to a more day-to-day thing.
Okay.
Here, something more realistic. The city of Jackson corruption stuff.
Right.
that's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
There was a conspiracy
True.
to commit a crime.
Absolutely.
You and I are theorizing about how that conspiracy unfolded or could have unfolded. Therefore, we are conspiracy theorists.
Okay, that's a good way.
You know,
Yeah, I mean,
you see what I'm saying here?
That's fair. Yeah.
So, I mean, everything can be a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
It's not just moon landings. It's not just government, New World takeover stuff.
Yeah, right.
You know, like everything can be a conspiracy theory. So when you look at it like that, it does make understanding people who are trying to understand these bigger geopolitical things that can get a little bit more fantasy world.
Right.
You know, but that's what happens when the people on the inside don't give you the information.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, you're left to theorize. And what are people's natural inclination for the most part is going to be to go to the wildest extreme of the theory. Because, well, if you're not going to tell me anything, I'm just going to assume the worst.
Yeah.
Let's take a break real quick. We'll be right back on the least biased show on the radio and the internet. This is the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun Yurtkuran. See, we can be, if you're biased both directions, you're unbiased.
Yeah, right.
We'll be right back. I don't know how to articulate what I gathered from that show.
No, that made a lot of sense what you just said.
But you will really enjoy it. I hit play last night when I was eating dinner and was just drawn to it. I finally had to cut it off so I could go to sleep.
What's it called though? I'm looking right here.
I think
okay. Eric Weinstein.
I think it's just a Chris Williams show.
That exists.
Like you can read that. So Eric Weinstein is a mathematician, economist, former managing director, and chief of the. Oh, he worked for Peter Thiel. He's like worked for Thiel Capital, and he's a former educator. So I'm just going to read the description here for people in the comments. It says it feels like the world is reaching a fever pitch, from deep fakes to cheap fakes, AI girlfriends to senile presidents. We've never had more access to information, and yet it's never been harder to work out what is true. So what do? That's something you and I have talked about. We have so much access to information that's made us dumber.
Yeah, absolutely.
Expect to learn Eric's thoughts on the 2024 presidential election, whether we are being gaslit on a global scale by the media, the future of string theory, and what's next for theoretical physics, why we have canned humor, and what that means as a society. Eric's thoughts on Joe Rogan, what my biggest weakness as a human are, and much more. Anyway, it's just a really, really good podcast.
I'm going to check it out. I'll try something less today.
Because Eric Weinstein is who Rogan brought on to explain to who's the actor from Hustle and Flow that thinks he's a physicist now. The black dude.
I don't know.
You know the black dude from Hustle and Flow.
I don't think I've seen Hustle and Flow, I'll be honest with you. I don't think I've watched it.
Famous black actor. People in the comments, who is the black actor from Hustle and Flow that was on Joe Rogan that thinks he's a physicist now?
Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard.
I just liked his picture and it was.
Yeah. Terrence Howard.
He thinks he's a physicist now?
Yeah. Self-taught physicist.
Really? I didn't even know that. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Funny. Yeah. Like he had this just mind-blowing Joe Rogan episode where he was just talking about the periodic table and just all this stuff. And it was like most controversial Rogan episode ever.
Really?
Yeah. So he brought Eric Weinstein on, who is legitimately a genius, to explain to him what he was right about, what he was wrong about. How it was just really good because he did it in a very not a demeaning way.
Yeah.
Like he walked through it all and explained to him politely. And it's just like, man, what a phenomenal way to communicate. Actually politely explain to somebody, you're wrong, but here's what you're right about. And let me tell you how to get to where you want to go. And it's like, as society, I have no interest in learning about physics necessarily. That's just above my pay grade.
Right.
Anything past normal math is above my pay grade. But it was really interesting watching the way they communicated respectfully about such a unique topic that was created such controversy inside that community. I hope I articulated that well.
So Terrence didn't sound like a total idiot?
No, he was actually way more right than people wanted to give him credit for.
Really?
He's a smart guy.
Yeah.
We're back.
Oh.
We're about to be back. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. This segment brought to you by Pure Air Consultants. For over 40 years, Pure Air Consultants has been delivering exceptional cooling systems to Central Mississippi. They want to remind you that consistent expert maintenance on your system improves your indoor air quality significantly. It also helps your system operation improve their efficiency by 20 to 40%, have an increased useful life, and have fewer failures. Be sure to check out the residential HVAC maintenance plan for Pure Air Consultants. They proudly offer it. So if you have any questions or you would like to sign up, contact them today at mypureairconsultants.com. Shaun?
Yep.
Let's see here. Let's read a few Guns and Gear texts, man. Woodrow says, if I can get my phone pulled up. Woodrow says, people have had something to say about the moon landing, in particular Stanley Kubrick. He stayed on his estate forever after making the moon landing. All his film crew died under very questionable circumstances. So Woodrow saying that Stanley Kubrick filmed the moon landing and he never left his home again after he did it, and everybody who helped him do it died, is how they were able to keep it quiet.
Oh, okay.
That's a theory.
Okay.
That's it. I look, I want to believe that we went to the moon. So I have a bias that refuses to let me believe that our American excellence was fabricated.
Yeah.
Even if it was, you could show me the evidence and I wouldn't. I have decided that, and we've gone down this rabbit hole, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I have decided that the moon landing happened, and you will never convince me otherwise, because what is the upside to faking the moon landing? But on the flip side, I also believe that we have aliens in captivity here that have crash landed here. I mean,
see, I can buy that, and I probably actually tend to believe that is possibly true or maybe true.
Yeah.
But whereas I absolutely believe that we landed on the moon, and I don't see why we would have faked it at all.
I do too.
I mean, I don't, I mean, just to beat the Soviets. I mean, I guess that would have been the only reason.
Yeah.
And what if it came out that we faked it? That would have made us look even stupider at the time,
Yeah. I mean, look, I just go back to how many people it would take to cover that up.
There was 400,000 people involved in the Apollo program. 400,000 people.
They have not even been able to. They have not even been able to keep the Kennedy assassination quiet.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
I mean, like, in theory, only about 2 people should know that.
And a DA in New Orleans figured it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you watch the movie JFK, I read his book, Jim Garrison stuff. I mean, he figured it out. That's how it's got the ball rolling on the whole thing.
I mean, look, and I believe in a lot of the crazy things that people say are conspiracy theories. Our government killed Kennedy. Our government killed Martin Luther King Jr., I believe.
I believe those things. Actually, those are the ones we probably agree on, you know, and there's a lot of evidence for that. And actually, the House Select Committee on Assassinations did one where they, in the 1970s, where they said there was a probable conspiracy in the JFK assassination. I mean, over 40, 50 years ago, they said that.
I 100% believe that they're going to attempt to kill Trump again.
I mean,
if
he's elected, you mean? Or between now and Tuesday?
But no, but what if he's elected between then and the 20th? I do not think they're going to allow. And I guess I did a day in my life vlog yesterday. Did a bunch of little videos and strung it together. I was going to post it here when we get off the show. At some point, I got to create a thumbnail for it. It's about a 40-minute long video, just all from me from the time I woke up to yesterday. And I actually hit this in my vlog, and I said, let's just play it through that they do kill Trump. Let's just pretend for a second that happens after he's elected. Then you have JD Vance, right? Well, Trump's a proven commodity. You know what you have in Trump. JD Vance, while we all like him right now, he's going to be on Joe Rogan today, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to that. Could the deep state compromise JD and get him on board to do what they want him to do if they got Trump out of the way? I would like to think no, but we don't know because he is kind of an unknown commodity in that sense.
Oh, here I'm saying 100% they could. And I can give you a lot of reasons why I think that.
Yeah.
Number one, I mean, this is a guy that said, I'm a never Trump guy, compared him to Hitler. So obviously, and now he's like, I love Trump. He's in my point by saying that.
And I agree with you.
He's doing this for power. Who wants power? So now he's like, I love Trump. Yeah, he wants to be vice president. I get it. Yeah, I think he could easily be manipulated to whatever was good for him.
Me too. And that's why I think it would make sense.
Right.
If we're in crazy town.
Yeah.
but they have tried to shoot Trump twice.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that crazy. It's not that crazy anymore.
I mean, it really isn't.
I mean, I wouldn't take that, like if you said that, like, is that, I mean, it's absolutely a possibility. I mean,
So yeah, to the point of believing in conspiracy theories, I believe in them. If we want to call them conspiracy, if wacko, crazy government conspiracy stuff, I 100% believe in all that. I just also believe that we landed on the damn moon. Everything's not a conspiracy theory. It's like me and Sean were talking the other day about election theft. Sean says, okay, I'll go. I'm putting words in your mouth a little bit here, but Sean said, okay, well, let's say 2020 was stolen. Does that mean every election y'all lose moving forward is stolen? I said, no, it does not mean every election moving forward will be stolen. I just believe this one was.
But you would agree that there's a contingent of people that now are making every election stolen.
Sure.
Everything is stolen, no matter what. It's like
100%.
It's like social contagion. Like it's like transgenderism. It's becoming like that.
Sometimes the favorite loses.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it happens.
I mean, it happens in football every weekend.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, who thought freaking Vanderbilt was going to beat Alabama?
And damn near beat Texas.
Yeah, damn near beat Texas. I mean, it happens. It just. I mean, I just don't want to see, like, even let's say you and I know we don't, but let's say we agree that 2020 was stolen. I just want to see where it's like every election when you lose, whoever loses, now it's stolen, and then that undermines the entire system forever, right? Because then why even have elections? I mean,
well, I bet you $100 that whoever loses this one says it's stolen.
I think that's exactly what's going on. That's unfortunate too. I think
it's got us in a toxic place.
It really does. I mean, I think if Trump loses, these people are going to say that. I think Kamala and the Democrats are so dug in that they're going to come up with something, too, if they lose. I mean,
we told you he's Hitler.
Yeah, it's going to be something like that. I mean, it's horrible. I mean, like the Declaration of Independence said, when the old government ain't working, tear it down and build a new one. I don't know. Sometimes you think we're at that point because it's just it's catastrophe.
It is, and that's what's bad about this, and that is a threat to the republic, whatever. Whatever terminology.
The stability of the republic. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we are teetering on the edge when nobody trusts our elections except whoever won it that year. Well, of course it's not stolen. I won.
Yeah, I won. It's it.
But when the losing side never accepts the result, you've got a problem. Let's take our last break of the day. Come back. Online audience, don't go nowhere. We're going to be riding with y'all to the very end here. We'll be right back on WYAB. Let's see here what the text say.
Hey, look at the mic covers I'm getting. You'll like this. So since her and I are doing that show,
do I know?
Since her and I are going to do a red blue show.
Oh yeah, I like it.
That's a good idea. The mic's
I
like
I like it. Yeah, the red and blue look great. All right, online audience. Appreciate you guys for tuning in today. Thought we had a good show. We're gonna have a few more like this up our sleeves as we get ready. And don't forget, I know it's been on the bottom of the screen the entire show, but we definitely got the election night coverage going, starting at 6 p.m. Tuesday night. Me and Sean will have an array of guests throughout the evening. We don't have a set end time. We're gonna go until they put a lid on it for the night. Yeah. I don't think we're gonna get a winner unless it's just an absolute landslide one way or the other. Announced election night, but we'll see. We're gonna play it by ear. I'm here I'll commit to midnight.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're good to midnight.
I'll commit to midnight. It's 6 hours.
If someone brings some alcohol, one.
Yeah.
And Lindsay and I are going to do a election eve podcast at 5:00 on Monday, so people want to tune into that too.
Cool. So. All right, online audience, thank y'all. I'm going to log off here because when we come back, we're just going to land the plane with the other guys. No sense in forcing y'all to hang out for that. Appreciate everybody. Hit that share button, please. As you log off of here, hit that share button and go out. You've got till noon Saturday to absentee vote. There's no sense in not taking advantage of that unless you just enjoy sitting in long lines on election day, which, I mean, hey, that can be fun too. I always meet some cool people in those lines. I kind of a glutton for punishment myself. I sort of enjoy it now that I get to vote in Rankin County, not Jackson. But with that said, most of you qualify for absentee voting. Go do it. This has been the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun Yurtkuran. I will see y'all back here tomorrow, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. And who knows when I'll pop up online today. We're waiting on the other hat to drop in Jackson.
Yep.
Anything could happen at any moment or not at all. We'll be conspiracy theorists until it happens. Then we'll be conspiracy factists.
Right.
Peace out.